am so excited that I get to speak with Josie Santi, the creator, the mind force behind Wellness by Josie. Hi, Josie. How you doing?
Hi, I am wonderful. So happy to be here talking to you.
Oh, well, I am so excited. I've been looking at your site. I've been reading about what you do, but I would like you to sort of walk me through what is Wellness by Josie?
Great question. So I'm first of all, holistic health coaching service. I do mostly one-on-one coaching right now because it comes from a very personal place. I found that's kind of really the only way, in my opinion, to really heal someone is to go from that one-on-one personalized place. So it's mostly a coaching service one-on-one. But then I also like to provide content for the people that maybe coaching isn't right for. So I like to call it a content creation as well as a coaching service.
Okay, and how did you come about to do this?
So great question. I like to say I've always been, interested in wellness. I kind of have always grown up with a mindset of being really interested in kind of like the positive psychology side of things. So in high school, I started a happy club because I wanted people to be happy and was just really interested in like how to make the most of this one life. I think I kind of always had that maybe even more spiritual understanding of like, okay, I know that there's a bigger reason to be here. And I always was focused on that, but the nutrition side of it did not click until a lot later. I was always the girl who, would have mac and cheese and cake and grilled cheese and pizza while all the other girls in high school were worried about, gaining weight and eating salads. And so I was never really that girl. My mom has always been really interested in health and nutrition and luckily raised her kids to be eating organic foods and eating whole and natural. So I had that piece of it. But for me, actually, the passion for wellness really came about in college when I had majored in English, but I also majored in religious studies. And I took a class in Ayurveda, which is an ancient practice of medicine, basically. But that's what clicked with me of there's the connection between the mind body. So that's when nutrition to me became not here's fats, proteins, and carbs. Here's how many calories to eat, blah, blah, blah. It became, this is what to eat to like make you happy, to give you energy, to become your best self. It was really that mind body connection, literally, that for me was like, oh, I get it. This is what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. So I didn't really know what that meant. I went into editorial. I loved fashion. I thought I was going to do the whole Devil Wears Prada thing and work for a fashion magazine. So I went into editorials and I'm still in editorial and love it, but I also knew there's something else I have to do, and it's help other women heal their own bodies. I saw so many, so much depression, so much comparison, so much diet culture of feeling like you're kind of bogged down by this mentality of you're supposed to eat this and not supposed to eat this, and you're supposed to look a certain way and not. And I just knew I have to help women get out of this kind of rat race of trying to find the perfect body and the perfect diet. So that's why I started coaching. I actually went to nutrition school and became certified in holistic health coaching. And that's how we got here now. That's the whole spiel.
So holistic health coaching, kind of for someone who doesn't know what that is, can you explain that to me?
Absolutely. Great question, because I know it sounds like what in the heck is holistic health and what does a coach even do? I like to explain it like, yes, we very much talk about nutrition. We cover what are you eating now? What can you be eating to be healthier? How can you incorporate more whole foods into your diet? But I also like to say that I'm almost like a life coach as well, like a life coach coming from the perspective of nutrition more than just a nutrition coach. Because we also cover everything from stress to relationships to exercise to work to fulfillment. I very much believe, and I feel fact, that one of those areas can impact your health and do impact your health just as much, if not more in many cases, than nutrition. So, when there's an imbalance in one area, whether that's, stress with work, whether that's a relationship that isn't fulfilling, that's going to show up in your body. So that's going to look like, or could look like, acne. It could look like a bad period. It could look like digestive issues, So really tying together, where is the emotional component and how is that attached to the ways that your body is really internalizing that and expressing that. So it's looking at the full picture. Literally, that's where the holistic part comes in. And then the coaching, what I like to kind of explain with that is that I do believe every person can heal themselves. We talk a lot in our culture about like, doctors are amazing. Doctors can do so many great things. They do the curing, and that's a different thing from healing. They can cure an illness, they can treat it, they can prescribe things, but that's different than healing the body kind of from the inside out, literally. So I believe, and I want to say I know and be assertive, that women can heal themselves, people can heal themselves. It's not a female thing. Although I do feel like women are just more in tune to that, but definitely what's best for you, so what I do as a coach is really just pull out of you what is the answer. And it's interesting to see how much progress can happen just based on what the client finds within themselves, like given the chance to just talk about it, asking the right questions. So yes, I give a lot of suggestions. I've done some meal plans, supplement routines, all that kind of stuff. But where I see the biggest changes happen is just giving the client the room and space to really tune into their bodies and see, what is my body trying to tell me?
Well, now I was on your site, and I think there's so much of your site is beautiful images, but also you have a lot of content on your site, from the grocery list. I love the grocery list. Those were terrific.
Oh, yay!
The grocery list, to your blogs. How much time would you say that you spend writing and putting that kind of content together compared with, meeting with somebody one-on-one? Or do you meet with people one-on-one?
Yes, great question. 100%. I think this has been kind of a big learning curve, having my own business, is having those time blocks. So a few days a week, I like to have my client days, and that's where I have back-to-back clients. And then some days I like to just be creative. So I would say time-wise, probably every week, at least 4 hours I spend either writing an article for the site, doing some kind of Instagram content, because I put a lot into my captions on Instagram. And then also my newsletter. So that kind of content creation as well. I would say at least a few hours, if not probably more like 5 to 6 a week.
And so, and I'm kind of jumping back. You were at school, you became a holistic coach. How was Wellness by Josie? How was that born? Like, when did you decide, okay, this is what I'm going to do?
Yes. So I actually was this program I went to become a certified health coach. Actually, fun fact, I didn't even think I was going to go and become a health coach. I just was so hungry to learn more, and I kind of missed that piece of college of learning and feeling like I was being pushed in that direction of just like learning more about wellness. And I loved my job and career, but I was like, I feel like I need to keep learning something. Like I need something to be coming to me. So I have really just taken the course to be like, it's going to be a great credential for my career. It's going to, give me so much more information. I loved all of the topics that they covered in the program and the nutrition school. So it was about halfway through the program where I had this kind of, I guess, epiphany, if you will, that I was meant to do coaching, because they would talk about coaching. It is a program to become a certified health coach. So most of it was training in nutrition and other areas of health, but there were the pieces of, here's how to actually be a coach. I would kind of watch those and be like, yeah, whatever. And then there was that point where I was like, I never wanted to be a coach or thought I could be a coach, but I'm realizing the skills that I like in myself, the empathy, the ability to listen, those social skills, the things that I have always in my life taken pride in, realizing that was kind of, I feel like I was meant to be a coach in a lot of ways. It did feel like, okay, I have to be doing this, because before I'd always thought I'm a writer, so I'll help women through writing. Maybe I'll write a book. Maybe I'll just put out a lot of content. And then it was that kind of click of, I need to be with people one-on-one. I need to be working. So that was the first idea where it came about, where this is something I should do. And then to the actual start of the company, I had zero idea what I was doing. Still really don't. But I had never taken a business class in my life, had zero idea what I was doing. Luckily my dad could help me with a lot of the business questions. But otherwise I had zero clue. I just knew, okay, I want to be able to start doing this. So I registered an LLC. I think I had reached out to a few people who I just had met from Instagram, just saying, hey, this is something I'm doing now. If I could be of service to you. They were people that, had messaged me before of, what's the best, protein powder to get. Like they had already asked me for advice, so I felt like I wasn't just, just giving it out to anyone, kind of selling myself to anybody. It were people that I had built connections with who I felt like looked to me in some way for wellness coaching and were interested in, improving themselves, because that's obviously the most important piece. So I reached out to a lot of them, and that's where a lot of my first clients came from. And then otherwise, it just becomes such a word of mouth thing. Like I am really, really lucky that I actually haven't done a lot of business outreach. My boyfriend always laughs, like, how is this possible? How are you having a business still? Because I haven't even worked on that part of my business yet, because I haven't had time and a chance to. I'm just so lucky. It's an industry that is very word of mouth, and obviously if you feel a lot of great changes and your friends are like, you're so different, you seem so happy, what happened? And that's the best, the best kind of marketing I could get is them saying, oh, I've been getting sessions with this health coach. So that's kind of how it grew. I wish that I had better advice of like, here's the exact, business way I did it. Here's my strategy. But I haven't even gotten to that point yet, I feel like. But I do feel like when you feel so genuinely like I need to do this for other people, and not even in such a, like, I don't mean to sound like I'm such a good Samaritan, but in a way of like, this is your passion in life and this is what you're called to do, that comes off, and the energy of that just makes things happen in a lot of ways. It's a very natural progression. That's not to say it hasn't come with so many challenges, because of course it has, but just I do feel like there's a difference. People can tell when it is this natural, like, I love doing this and I'm here to do this kind of thing.
Well, I know when I look at your site and I look at your Instagram feed, I mean, that definitely comes across in everything that you're putting out there.
Good. Well, thank you.
You mentioned though you were working a job. Did you have a traditional job before? And I don't like to say a real job, because being an entrepreneur is a real job. But did you have a traditional job before you started this business?
Yes. So I was a contributing writer for a lot of different publications in college. And then I'm still working with the Every Girl. It's a publication. So that's kind of like my, not real job, but that's my, I guess, full-time main thing. Well, they're both kind of full-time, but you know what I mean? Like they're, 100%. So I still love editorial, and I am still very much involved in that world, but this has become definitely my, I don't even want to call it a side business, because it's really not, but, just my other passion in life for sure, and kind of balancing the two, and they've become kind of easy to incorporate together, kind of. So definitely a lot of time spent working, though, I will say, for sure.
Now, I did look at the Every Girl site, and I was looking at some of the things and reading some of the stuff you had written. Do you you go back and forth between the two of them, is what I hear you say?
Kind of. So I will write a lot of the content for them. A lot of my work comes to them, and then just anything that I think is more kind of fitted. Like there are different voices for sure. So anything that's more fitted for, like the grocery list, for example, that's something I love, and I know my clients find a lot of value in. So it's fun for me to just put them up, but that's not something I would go publish on the Every Girl. So it is kind of an easy balance, because there's a very I know I just said that they were very integrated, but they're actually very separate. So the integration is more like my love for wellness can come out there, and I write, so much wellness content. So it is, but it is kind of a more separate thing. So I guess to answer your question, yes, it is the balancing of the two, just in terms of my time.
And then do you see yourself one day leaving Every Girl, and that the wellness becomes 100% of what you do, or that's not what interests you? You like to have a mix.
So far, I love having the mix. I love my team and editorial and all that good stuff. So not really on my radar at the moment. I find it's been so far so good to have both, and I feel very fulfilled with both, and I love spending my time doing all of this stuff. So not really on my radar. I think I'll always in my life be involved in editorial, because I still love writing, and even to a bigger capacity than just posting on my own blog. Like I love kind of being connected in that editorial world. So I think I will always be, in some capacity, 100% involved in editorial.
Okay. Now tell me about, though, the first time that you met with a client who wasn't a friend. So you got, and again, I hate to use the word real, but this client wasn't, in the family friends discount pool. This was a full-fledged client that walked through your door. Tell me what that was like.
Yes, I definitely was so nervous. I mean, I know everybody in their career has, that the imposter syndrome 100%. And that was definitely what it was. I was thinking, like, who am I to think I can charge people just to talk to me for an hour? I had it all. It was definitely so scary. And I just really had to go back to, it's not even on me, almost like it's not even my responsibility, because I know with just what I ask, that's going to happen naturally, that it comes. And just, the knowledge I have, I still kind of have those moments. Like, even every single time I book a new client, I have to constantly visualize, here's the client becoming all of the goals that they want. Here's them becoming their best self. And here's me helping them. Like, I still very much have to visualize that. The visualization really helps too, but it is kind of a scary thing, someone paying you and saying, here, help me do this, this, and this. And you're like, oh God, what if I don't help you? But definitely that comes with time of noticing how many people have changed so dramatically, and kind of getting that confidence just from the outcome. But the first time was definitely terrifying, of like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing. And I really felt like, okay, I have to pretend like I know everything, that I've done this before. And I think it was my boyfriend who said, you don't have, just tell her that it's your first time doing this, and that you're figuring out together. And I was offering a discounted price anyway. So I ended up saying to the first one that I had, the first consultation that I had, oh, this is, I'm new at this. It's one of my first times. And I think that's what really helped, is just feeling like I could be imperfect too, and know that I still helped her, and it's still a client that I have that still comes back to me for sessions, because we have that kind of relationship and connection. So I think that was a big lesson too, is knowing I'm starting my own business. I don't have to kind of fake it till I make it. I can be open about, this is progression, this is what I'm working towards, and being okay with being in the beginning phases.
I love that you said something about the imposter syndrome, because I have been speaking since 1998. And people will say to me, well, you probably don't get nervous. I say, I get nervous before every presentation. Be it,
do you still?
Oh yeah, it can be a pre-COVID, people are in the same room, to I'm in a studio talking to a camera. I'm always nervous. And I still sometimes think, I really can't believe I'm asking people to pay me money to do this.
Yes,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It is a lot of pressure when it's not someone else or a different brand or whatever it is fronting, and it's just you, and it's on you to perform. No matter what, that's going to be pressure. So
it is.
I feel you. It's good to know you've been doing it way longer than I've been doing what I'm doing. So it's good to know you still feel it too.
Oh, you do. And it's funny, because when someone says to me, well, you're the expert, I look around, I say, well, who's the expert?
Yeah.
Who are we talking about? Yeah.
Right.
So I love that you called it the impersonation syndrome, because
Yes.
For me, when you're the product, because you really, what you're selling is you're the product.
Yeah.
That doesn't really go away. Or for me, it didn't go away.
I think, I hear that a lot. I think anyone, even like the top expert in the field, is still like, who me? I'm the top expert. I hear that all the time, that's just like a phase of being human. We never really realize what we are.
Yeah.
So 100%.
Is there anybody in your field or anybody that you looked up to when you were putting this business together, or even now as you run your business? Is there anybody you think, wow, this is somebody that I respect or admire what they did, or aspire to be like them, or duplicate their success?
Yes, there are so many. It's been really cool to see kind of an influx of new, I guess you call them influencers, even though I don't like that word, but influencers out on social media and creating their own content. That to me have been so fun to see, because in the wellness space, kind of before this new phase, like before the past couple years, I would say like 10, 20 years ago, the wellness space was obviously all filled with dietitians giving their diets, or saying, here's how to lose 10 pounds, or selling books. And And it came from a place what I feel like was very gimmicky and salesy. And it's been really awesome the past couple of years to see so many women coming forward being like, here's how to just live a healthy life and be free. So a lot of women like Melissa Wood Health, if you've ever heard of her, she has an online platform of, she does like yoga and Pilates videos and also meditation. So she actually attended my same nutrition school. So it was cool for me to, see her success afterwards and everything. But I think she just has a big following of being able to inspire people and kind of teach people this different lens than what we've been fed about nutrition and wellness in general for so long. So I think Kenzie Burke is another really awesome one who is just kind of using her platform to say, here's how you heal yourself instead of being like, here's how to lose weight or all of the things that I think we're so used to hearing in the wellness space. So there's absolutely been so many women who have just been promoting this way of like, having a clean, healthy lifestyle and nourishing your body, but not from a place of restriction. And that's definitely what has motivated me and what I feel like we need to share with more people, because I think so many women especially are kind of plagued down by this, as I said before, like the diet culture of I have no idea what to eat because there are so many diets. I don't know what to take because there are so many supplements and it's so confusing. So kind of having that reassurance that the answers are within you and it's not as complicated as the rest of the health space kind of makes it believe. So there's definitely been so many awesome women coming forward in the past couple of years that have really become super successful, literally just sharing this is a natural, healthy lifestyle that doesn't have to feel difficult or complicated or restrictive.
And I hear you, obviously I hear you saying women quite a bit. Does that mean you don't work with men?
I do not. It's not like I'm closed off to it, but I definitely know my demographic, and it's definitely women. I do feel like, the health of a woman, obviously just because of the physical parts of the reproductive system, and that's way different than how a man is. Hormones are way different. We obviously have a 28-day cycle, whereas men just have a 24-hour cycle of hormones, so it's totally different. It's true. It really is true.
Put that way.
Yes, it makes a lot of sense though, right?
I'm going out tonight for happy hour, and I'm going to throw that one around. I like that.
You throw it out. You do, because it's a good cocktail hour conversation starter for sure. But but it's so, like I said, it is physically obviously very different, but I think where a lot of my passions are when it comes to wellness is kind of where, as I've talked about, those emotional components get tied into the physical. And I definitely feel like that obviously happens with men too, but just in what I can relate to, and also what I feel like my passion and my calling is to focus on, is helping women specifically get out of a lot of these, I guess the cultural norms that have been plaguing us down, whether that is diet culture, whether that is, periods are gross. And in that way, we kind of internalize a lot of this, we're innately disgusting in a lot of ways. And so there's a lot of things just about being a woman that I find really fascinating and really exciting. And also what I feel like I am best to help for. So yeah, I've never had a male client. I'm not, never say never, but definitely where I can relate to women is really my strong suit, I would say, my passion.
I think that's so interesting. You talk about women and their relationship with food, because like my husband, I'll look at stuff that he eats with he'll eat something without even a second thought. So yesterday he went and got 2 hamburgers at McDonald's, ate them without a second thought. And I don't remember, as an adult, there hasn't been a day, and it doesn't even have anything to do with weight loss, but there's never a day I don't think about what I'm eating. There's always something in my mind, is that the healthy choice? Always in my mind, I'm thinking about what I should be eating. And again, this is a generalization, it seems that men just eat whatever happens to be on the table without even thinking about it.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
It's mind-boggling to me. It's like, how could you not think about that Big Mac you just ate? Like I would be like analyzing the nutrition in it, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
And so why do you think though that women are so I call it obsessive, a little obsessive about the food culture?
Yeah, there are so many reasons, and this is one of my, if you can't tell already, like gender studies was a big focus for me in college too. So obviously a big passion for me. Where that kind of obsession comes from is definitely from a very early age. So a lot of it, I think, is from this perspective of like, we always have to be small in general. And I think that just becomes very ingrained in us. So, whether that is obviously physically, all kind of growing up thinking, well, that's the ideal body type is the model on the cover, or, those images that we see all the time, but also in kind of personality in some ways. It's for so many years, a really strong, confident woman would be called, a bad word or bossy or whatever it is. And then, I remember people being like, wow, you laugh really loud. And like, that was the craziest thing ever. Like, I just feel like there's this, bigness that men have not even had to think about, whether that is, eating 2 Big Macs, literally counts to just being able to take up space in the world. And I think as women, we're constantly feeling like, okay, well, we have to make other people comfortable because it's so ingrained. I think early on we do a disservice to boys, again, a generalization, but just culturally speaking, boys are raised kind of thinking like, okay, we're going to go out and play. And we tell boys like, don't cry, be a man. And we tell women like, express your feelings more. Like we're more conscious of teaching little girls how to be in tune to their feelings. So it is this juxtaposition of, at one point we're kind of taught to be more in tune to our emotions and in that way be more emotional, but then it's kind of like, we'll suppress those emotions and just like be good. And so this is a long-winded way to say, I feel like the obsession with food is really, really deep. Like it's very culturally ingrained, but the surface level of it definitely is like, this is what the ideal body type is. This is what you have to be attractive or to be worthy. And it's a constant strive to get there. And I think, I was lucky and my mom was not like this at all, but so many of my friends' moms thinking this is, something productive and helpful, saying, oh, you've gained a little weight, or, you shouldn't eat this because it's unhealthy. And yes, we have to teach our kids how to be healthy, but I think that with women, it's more specific when it comes to how you look, because even if the parent doesn't intend it to be anything about how they look, it's still internalized thinking health equals skinniness, when that's not even true. So I do feel like it's just a big kind of overall cultural issue. I could go on and on about this topic, but 100% it is, just to answer your question, just the ingrained kind of traits in the culture of this is what an ideal looks like, an ideal woman looks like, and you have to be small. And so that's where the food is just kind of rather than thinking of it like this is something nourishing our body, it's something that either is going to help us be smaller or make us bigger. So that's where, to answer your question, that was a very long-winded way of saying it all.
Now, when you're talking about that, about ingrained culture and moms, I was thinking about my best friend, and we've been friends since 8th grade. I don't know, I think we were like 14 years old, and it was Christmas time during the holidays, and there was some fudge at her house, and of course we're just gorging ourselves on this fudge. And she asked her mom, she goes, Mom, you want a piece of fudge? And her mom, and to this day, my girlfriend and I still do this. She's like, her mom's like, no. And she taps the bottom of her chin. She goes, I'd rather eat something that doesn't give me a double chin.
Yes, that's such a good example.
I think that, I mean, it's sort of, it's like shameful eating is what she's, and to this day, whenever my girlfriend and I are out and we're drinking, we're always like, we do that. It's a great joke now, but I remember back then, I felt kind of bad about eating the fudge then. I was having a great time eating fudge, and then all of a sudden I wasn't.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's such a great point. And yes, it is like such a funny thing because it's so normal for us, like in the same vein, even I remember with my college friends laughing about how we didn't eat all day so we could eat a cheese board and have a lot of wine, because and it's like a funny joke between women, like, because we understand this hilarious joke that having that joke with a man might not be the same, because we kind of understand that level of why it's funny because it's true, so 100%, that's such a good example of even like, to each other, to parent to child, whatever kind of relationship it is, even if we're not saying directly like this is what you should do or not do, or this is a comment on your weight, the way that we talk about ourselves affect other people. So 100%, like you said, that's the great example of someone else being like, well, I can't eat that because I got a double chin situation or whatever it is, and thinking, well, then that means that this is going to give me a double chin, and I, God forbid, can have a double chin. And so 100%, that's such a great point. And it's funny that you still remember that. You know, I think there are those moments that will always be funny because we remember them for sure, but that made an impression for you and affected the way that you even thought about what you were eating as well.
It is, but yeah, it's a really good point. It is funny though. It is different though with men, because if I told this story to my husband would say, "Well, you're saying we have fudge in the house right now? Like now there's fudge here?
Where's the fudge?
Where is it? Where is it?"
Yeah, right.
You did mention influencer. You said you don't like that term. So this is sort of a twofold question. You're an influencer, correct? Is that, but you don't want to be called that, or am I misunderstanding this whole equation? Remember, I'm much older than you are, so my idea of influencer.
You get it. You're hip. I can tell. So I just feel like influencer. You know, I shouldn't have such a problem with the word, but I do, because I think it is such a meaningful career. Truthfully, it is kind of where our culture is going. It's one of the most powerful positions in our culture. You know, now companies aren't going to billboards and commercials to give advertisements. They're going to these individual people, and that's a really big deal. And I also feel like it's really awesome to be able to literally influence people, whether it's to buy something that's going to make them feel really great, or whether it's going to be influencing them to act a certain way. Like, there is so much power, and that's really exciting. So I like the title in that way, where it is kind of implying like this is a content creator that's just influencing other people to live. But I think with that, there is this it kind of comes with a bit of like judgment of like trying to think of even how to explain it. Like, I guess there is like a little bit of looking down on people that consider themselves influencers, because it's not a real job, and even though it's one of the highest paid, you know, in 2021, but I think there is this kind of like, it's not totally accepted yet, and I think influencers do feel that kind of like, I know you're not going to take me seriously. I know if I go somewhere and say I'm an influencer versus I'm a health coach, that's going to get such a different response, you know. But you know, I have so much respect for the industry, so it's nothing about the industry. It's more of, I don't like the way that I think the rest of the world kind of looks at and takes that. And I also feel like influencer has kind of become a word that has become a little bit of a joke. Like, I do feel like content creator feels more like what it is, if you're literally creating content, and it's a really creative job, rather than just, I feel like influencer, there's this idea of you're just, you know, posting on Instagram and it's easy and that's all it is. So I want the people doing this for their full-time job to get the respect that they deserve, kind of. So I hope that explains it. But yeah.
So was there a time where you discovered you were an influencer, or did you set out with the intent of, okay, so I'm going to be an influencer, or did someone say, hey, you're an influencer, and you're like, wow, I guess I am?
It's still funny when people will say that to me, because I still, to be honest, don't even think I am, not because I don't want to be, just because I'm like, I influence people, like so I guess I've never realized it, I guess, or knew that, or thought of it. I think of like influencer on the massive scale, but now kind of the new thing is really the micro influencers that have less of a following but have a very dedicated following. So I think I started noticing, like, to answer your question in a different way, I started getting messages from people maybe a couple years ago being like, thank you for saying this, that changed my life. Thank you for this Instagram caption, or like multiple people tagging me. I have this thing on Instagram that I call like 3 drink rule. And I just did it to be funny, because I always have so many freaking drinks everywhere that, just to like stay hydrated, to have a tea and a coffee and a water. And so now I get tagged all the time and having that like 3 drink rule. And it's that's kind of funny for me, but I think I started realizing at a certain point, like, that maybe I have this, I'm trying to think of how to say this without sounding too cocky, but having this way of like just understanding other people to be able to approach them in a way that feels like this is something that they want for themselves, I guess, rather than it being all about me, and what's good for me and what I think and what I'm wearing. I think I've always been very aware of here's something that either I'm doing or I think that I believe can be good for you too. So I guess in that way, I have like realized and grown into myself as that kind of person who I feel like can influence, and I feel proud of what I am influencing other people to do. But to answer your question, that realization of influencer, I don't know if that's happened yet exactly.
Okay. I understand not liking certain titles. As a professional speaker, sometimes I get lumped under the motivational speaker tab. And whenever I hear that, I just think, it just makes me cringe. It's because it just seems to me so old school and not what I do. So I'm sensitive to not liking certain titles on what you do.
Totally. So you call yourself a professional speaker?
I call myself a professional speaker. Yes.
I love that title. That's title.
That's what I give myself a call. But you're right. People then still don't understand. They're like, so people hire you to tell you, and they tell you what to say. I'm like, nah, not really. No, that's
totally
not it either.
Different. Yes, I know you do have the kind of job like me where it is like no matter what you're doing, you kind of have to explain, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
But it's different than a business person or a teacher or
doctor, lawyer.
Yeah. Doctor, right? You're like, this is what I do. It explains it all in the title.
Right. Tell me what. In building your business, what went wrong or what mistakes did you make? And you're like, that wasn't the best move.
Yeah, so many, and still making so many, I will say for sure. Some of them, I really didn't have a system of really keeping track of a lot of things. I like had a Google Doc, I would put all my new clients in, but I had no idea where those clients were coming from, how they found me. I knew what they were paying individually, but I didn't have a full sheet even telling me, here's what you're making by month, by week, whatever. So I think just really being unprepared in a lot of ways, kind of starting out, like I probably should have had a little bit more of just like, here's how to just automate systems, because that's been a big one where I've wasted so much time doing things that could have been super, super easy to automate. Still definitely learning that lesson with a lot of things. Learning where to spend my time. That's been a big one too. Like I love the content creation and want to really do that, but I should be spending a little bit more time on the business side of things, because that's what's going to bring me money and more clients. So really learning those lessons of transitioning from what I saw myself as this creative person and writer, transitioning that to a business mindset has definitely been the biggest challenge. And then I would say the other thing is almost opposite of what I already said, but not starting like sooner than I did. I think I put it off for a long time, feeling like my website has to be perfect. I have to feel like I'm 100% ready to have my first client. And like I, explained earlier, I didn't even feel ready when I had my first consultation and had no idea what I was doing. So I think I got to a point where I realized I'm never going to feel ready. So I got to do it now, but I could have started earlier and had those, extra time building my business even more. So anytime I talk to, even health coaches that are just getting started out, that's kind of the main thing that I want to say, or even any entrepreneurs really. It's like kind of, start fast and then adjust. Like I've changed absolutely everything about my business. I've changed, my logo, I've changed my website, I've changed my programs, I've changed literally everything kind of besides my LLC title. That's the only thing that hasn't changed really. But I had to have the experience in order to get to those changes. So I would say just like, start fast and then adjust along the way. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I wish I knew that when I was starting out, because I could have, I'm sure, been even farther along, learned so many other lessons, but obviously it happens as it happens. I would definitely say knowing it doesn't have to be perfect. Again, something I'm still working on learning, but also really feeling more like focus in the business side of it rather than just here are my awesome ideas and here's my content and hoping that's good enough, and knowing that there should be some kind of organization involved in keeping everything together and knowing how to grow, having a plan to grow.
Yeah, it's the getting ready to get ready.
Yes, that's a great way to say it.
I remember I heard because I am very guilty of, I'm getting ready to get ready. I don't want to do this until this is perfect. I want to get this. And somebody said to me, the website I put up, the book I write, the article I publish are all going to be better than what you're getting ready to do. And that to me was sort of an aha. I thought, you know, you got to do it, or else you're, or at least for me, always going to be getting ready to get ready. You know, I'm going to get ready to do it.
That's such a good way to put it.
Yeah. And interesting, you talked about kind of automating and, or, you know, being aware of where your leads were coming from. And I would say for me, in my business, I often wanted to stick my head in the sand when it came to financials. It's like, well, you know, I'm the talent. You know, I'm doing my thing. I'm producing.
Right.
And I remember I heard the comedian, I think her name is Kathy, oh shoot, she has the red hair. She used to do New Year's Eve with Anderson Cooper until she got in trouble. She got in trouble about saying something about Trump. But I remember I heard her interviewed once, and she said the number one thing you need to know when you are the product is you need to understand the finances. She says you can't use the excuse that you're the artist, that you don't understand it. You have to understand it. And I thought that those two things were sort of ahas for me. It's like, okay, you know, let's just put it out there and then also understand how it's getting paid for.
Yeah, that's so true. Kind of being like in control of every area of your life. Like it's not good enough to just say, you know, here's what I can do and that's it. Like being in control, knowing I'm smart enough and capable enough to be part of all of it. So that's both of those are such great ways to think of those things for sure.
So I don't want to keep you longer than I promised, but there's two more things I want to cover. One is, what advice would you give to other young entrepreneurs like yourself?
Oh, this is a good question. Definitely the biggest piece is what I already said, of just kind of like the starting. But the other thing I would say, kind of two pieces, because I hear a lot of entrepreneurs, whether they're my age or younger than me, and you know, trying to really get into a space. And I feel like there are so many spaces now that we talk about feeling like oversaturated, you know, whether that's music, whether that's being an influencer, whether that's fashion, beauty, whatever. We are exposed to so many more things because of social media. So everything feels oversaturated. And that's kind of what I hear a lot is, well, I feel like this is oversaturated. How do I even break through this marketplace? You know, I would say, and wellness is another one that's definitely become, you know, oversaturated the past couple of years. So I would say to ignore that totally. Like, make sure that what you're doing, you're not just doing it to be famous, or you're not just doing it to make money. You're doing it because you really believe this is what you're meant to do, and you're passionate about it, and believe that other people can benefit from the product or the service or whatever it is that you're selling. So to be so confident in what you're offering other people that you know that it just has to be in the world, and that doesn't affect what the rest of the marketplace is doing. You know, obviously be aware of what's going on in the industry, but I think you can kind of turn on your blinders and just say, I'm going to do what I love doing, and have the faith that if I care about this and work really hard and believing in it, it's going to be reciprocated from other people. You know, other people are going to feel that this is a genuine product, service, whatever it is. So definitely that, you know, ignoring the oversaturation, ignoring what you feel like is impossible to break into. Nothing's impossible to break into. You just have to find what your individual angle is. I would say, that's the advice I even wish I had earlier for sure. But the best advice I think I can offer kind of our generation and people younger now with social media, it is so overwhelming. It feels like everybody's doing everything and you're missing out. So ignoring that and just doing what you know you're meant to do.
Ooh, I like that, because I get on social media and I get overwhelmed. I'm just like, there's just like so much. I think I don't even know where to begin. Yeah, that's great.
It's so overwhelming. Yeah, you're not alone. Everybody else feels that way too.
You did mention fashion, and I have to ask you this. I just read, though, that your generation, when I say you're young, the younger generation, you're canceling side parts and your skinny jeans are going away. Is this true?
You know, I have to say, this is not even my generation. I'm like right on the cusp of millennial and Gen Z. That's the Gen Z. So I don't even associate with that, because I'm obviously still in the side part.
I didn't even notice.
All about the skinny jeans. I know I should have middle parted so I look cooler right now, but no, still very much in the side part. But that's, you know, that's what they're saying. But I will say it is funny for me with that, because I know the internet's freaking out like, oh my gosh, we can never wear skinny jeans or side parts if we want to be cool. But it is funny to see, because it is such a natural progression of trends. You know, this is what happened. Every single place, for a while. It was like shoulder pads in the 80s are so cool. And the older generation did not understand that. And then they became uncool, and the younger generation didn't understand how anyone wore shoulder pads, and now they're cool again, So it is just like the natural progression, which is really interesting. But, I say if you like skinny jeans and side parts, we all should just wear what we want.
It's not that I like skinny jeans. I finally have gotten used to wearing skinny jeans.
Yeah.
I finally got I've mastered getting them on. It's the getting them on part. I've mastered that.
I know. See, it should be a lesson to us all we just shouldn't even try to do anything, because as soon as we get used to it, it'll just be out of style again. So we should just stick to what we know.
The idea that the middle part, when I was in 6th grade, I had like the Grand Canyon middle part right down the center of my head and a big zit on my chin. And so the fact that that is coming in to be cool, I'm all for that. I'm going to put that on my...
Yeah, you were way ahead of the trend.
I was just 10 years old. I didn't know. All right, now it is time for the shameless business plug. Tell us what we need to know about your business and how to get in touch with you.
Okay, how to get in touch with me. My website is wellnessbyjosie.com. Email me at josie@wellnessbyjosie.com. Find me on Instagram at josie.santi. And then we have a group on Facebook of Wellness by Josie. So all Wellness by Josie, all my name, easy to remember. But yeah, holistic health coaching service. Please look to me if you would like any kind of help with wellness, whether it is, finding food freedom, whether it is having a more nutritious lifestyle, breaking bad habits, finding new habits. I like to really say it is all about becoming your best, very truest self. It's not about, a meal plan or a exercise plan. It just is finding what is the best version of you, and let's get to that. So that's what I do. Find me on my website, wellnessbyjosie.com, or Instagram at josie.santi.
Awesome. I really, especially going into 2021, I think there's nothing better to do than just be the best selves that we can after last year. That's awesome.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, we all need it for sure.
We do. All right. Well, Josie, thank you so much. And this has been terrific. I've been looking forward to talking to you all day. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Megan. It's been so fun